Welcome to the Republic of Haiti. Because of political corruption, an extremely unstable economy, and overwhelming poverty, Haiti has remained the least developed country in the Western Hemisphere. About 80% of Haitians live in poverty. Their unemployment rate is 70%. And almost half of its population is illiterate. Perhaps Haiti is at the point of no return. Perhaps the damage is irreversible. Or maybe all they need is a sense of hope.
Haiti has, I think, a really interesting history. It was initially a Spanish colony. It was one of the main parts of the Spanish Caribbean for a very long time, underdeveloped for an awfully long time. In the 17th century, it becomes part of the French Empire. What the French end up doing is they end up turning it into an incredibly profitable slave society based on the cultivation of sugar. Because the island is so profitable and makes so much money from sugar that they're able to import Africans at an incredible rate, and they work them very hard, and they end up dying very, very quickly. I think to understand the Haitian Revolution, you have to understand the French Revolution. The French Revolution begins in 1789 as an effort to have more rights and liberties for the French population. But the way the French Empire works is that everyone who lives in the colonies, in Louisiana or Haiti or Canada, they are full French citizens if they're white. So what happens is that in 1789, white Haitians travel to Paris to claim their rights with the tennis court oath and the Constituent Assembly and things like that. But who also goes? The free black population of Haiti goes as well, and they demand rights. The white Haitians absolutely freak out about this, and they do everything they can in Paris to block their efforts to gain increased rights. So what happens in the Haitian Revolution does not begin as a slave rebellion. It begins as a race war between the free blacks and the white population. The war will last 13 years. It kind of defies description. You see the end of Napoleon's dreams in the Caribbean, and what you see most importantly is just insane violence, even by the standards of the time. The Haitian Revolution was catastrophically violent. Total disruption to the economy, to the society, you name it. And the net result is, in 1804, Haiti declares full independence, and it becomes the first black republic and independent black country in the world. This is the origins of, I think, why Haiti is like it is today. The slave system, but the nature of the revolution, so incredibly violent and so disruptive and so destructive that when the country has its moment of independence in 1804, it is utterly destitute and destroyed. And what happens, and what's a key ingredient in understanding the history of Haiti, is that Haiti is treated like an absolute pariah for the 19th century. America, Great Britain, the French, the Spanish, you name it, isolate the country, and they won't trade with it, they won't interact with it, they won't recognize it. No economic development, total corruption, complete fear, and the country really languishes over the course of the 50s, 60s, 70s, and 80s. Haiti's poverty and the issues that Haiti faces grows out of its really brutal and difficult history.
The history of Haiti has just been rife with corruption and poverty And I mean, there's just not a lot of hope.
Holy Innocents is the third largest Episcopal school in the United States. Located in Atlanta, Georgia, it educates students from kindergarten through 12th grade. In 2002, Board of Directors member Lever Stewart and a team from Holy Innocents made their first trip to Haiti through Food for the Poor, a charity that provides assistance to impoverished families. After their experiences with the children, they decided that their work was not finished.
We came down to Haiti and very impacted by our time in Port-au-Prince. I really wanted to try to get Holy Innocents involved down here. We talked to Episcopal Relief Development Fund and thought that it would be heard that there was a vehicle that we might be able to sit with the bishop in the Diocese of Haiti and work directly with a parish in Haiti where we could get involved as a partnership.
After meeting with the bishop, a partnership is exactly what they found. St. Mathieu, a parish in Léogâne, was in desperate need of help. Holy Innocents began to form a close relationship with the parish and its rector, John Bertol.
A special thing that the children need. Immediately I thought the children need the school. They need to sit down very comfortable.
The first thing we got involved with, when we went down there in November 2003, there was about 70 students from age 5 to 18, and I remember the impression I had was the kindergarten kids who were tiny, and it just broke my heart to see them without the proper schooling and then knowing that there was going to be a history of them in that dilapidated building. So we decided that the church and school would go in on some fundraising, which we did that first year. We were able to raise enough money to help them build a new school.
After the successful construction of St. Mathieu, Holy Innocents funded a second project at another parish, St. John Baptist.
It had been completely rebuilt. The church was beautiful, and the school had been completely rebuilt. And that was strictly funds that the school had raised. So between the church and the school, there's this great partnership around this. I remember saying to John Bertol, is there another project that we can help you with? And I remember him looking at me and pointing up into the mountains, and he said, yeah, there's a church and school in the mountains. Their schooling was done in the church, which was a cinder block building and had a dirt floor. So they really had nothing. And there was a vacant lot behind the church that they were hoping that we could help them to raise the money to build the school.
Mr. Keck told me, if they need school, we don't have problem. We are going back to Holy Innocents. I will try to see how we can get money, raise the money to send to you, and you can start the work and St. Margaret.
Also located in Léogâne, St. Marguerite sits miles atop a mountain. After talking with John Bertol, the Holy Innocents team traveled back to Haiti to visit this parish.
They had a church service, and everybody suddenly went into the church. And then Jean Bertol asked me to say a few words, and I said something earnest and serious about wanting to help, and we were here to explore the possibility of helping with a new school. And then John Bertol translated it, and then suddenly they started laughing, and then they started clapping, and which I thought was kind of curious because I didn't say anything that was funny or deserved applause. And so when I asked him what he said, I told them that you were going to build us a new school.
In any time, in any place, I mean, education tends to provide opportunity, but education costs a lot, and when the government's poor, it's difficult to fund and invest in education. You get a kind of self-perpetuating cycle when you have a country which suffers from historic lack of education, and you had minimal investment historically in Haiti in terms of education.
In Haiti, education is a big challenge because the government they're doing nothing for the school.
You'll find the highest rates of illiteracy in the Western Hemisphere. In Haiti, you'll find the lowest rates of attendance, graduation, investment in university.
We sent $30,000 down for them to get started with this.
We've done nothing on the ground other than help finance this, and the Haitian people have done everything, and they've done it beautifully. And we've just been watching.
It was really a leap of faith on our part and on Jean Berthol's part, because it's a 4.5-mile hike.
C'était un bagage qui était vraiment difficile et face avec milieu côté que travail ça est. Donc pour sortir avec matériaux et en bas la ville pour monter dans monde là.
They have no power tools. Everything needs to be done by hand, and they were having to take each brick needed to be brought up by hand, and they needed to pay people to do that.
It's so expensive. The blocks cost almost $25 to get there.
About 6 months later, in December of 2008, several of us went back to Haiti and hiked up the hill just to see how far they had gotten. And to our delight, they had finished about half of the project. I asked Jean Berthol how much more money it was going to cost for them to finish the project, and he said it'll be probably about $35,000. I told Jean Berthol that if I could go back to school, that would happen to be on a Friday. I said if I can go back to school and arrange on Monday for the payment to be made, when could they start construction? And he said on Tuesday. And so we had full confidence that if we could get them a check for $35,000 on that Monday, that they would finish it.
Just 6 months after the second $30,000 was given to St. Marguerite, the school was completed, and Holy Innocents was back in Haiti, ready to climb the mountain. At the base of the mountain, the team was reunited with John Berthol and geared up for the hike.
My first trip. Yes, this is your first trip. Really good. Hey.
Je marcherai.
Oh, tu marcheras. Ok. Van, Mr. Van. Hey. Go up or go here?
Two hours, and 5 miles later, they arrived at St. Marguerite.
Oui, c'est très difficile. C'est difficile to get the material here.
It just is so self-satisfying from a standpoint of coming down and seeing their faith and their strength and how much our friendship to them means.
It took us about 2 hours to get to the top, and there everyone sort of met one another. Well, there was welcome, there was food, a gracious welcome, really. Hospitable, full of hospitality, and which is the norm, always the norm in Haiti.
After an hour of catching up with locals and eating a welcoming meal, the church service, celebrating the opening of the new school, was ready to begin.
The great thing about it was the service was beautiful and they were very thankful, which is fine. But it was wonderful again to see the children and the looks on the children's faces.
Nous allons débuter notre service à la page 257, livre de la prière commune.
You come down thinking that, well, this is wonderful, we're going to try to help the needy, and you pretty quickly find out down here that actually what it does is help you a lot more because of their faith and their strength and their desire for friendship. You form friendships that are a lot more meaningful than the money that we're able to bring down to help them.
I had an opportunity to just say a few words to them, and what I told them was we were blessed to have the St. Margaret community in our lives. And our whole community fell in love with the students at St. Margaret. Thank you for having us, and God bless.
I feel that every time I am able to look at a young child and she or he looks back and then we smile at one another, it's sort of the essence of who we are as human beings.
As the service winded down, everyone was given an opportunity to share their gratitude towards one another.
The whole community was embracing the school, and it's just going to change people's lives forever, but more than just their community, it's what it's done to our community.
After the service, it was finally time to unveil and bless the new school.
The dedication of that building was a highlight, I think, in the history of our school, and certainly a highlight in my life.
Le Seigneur soit avec vous. Et avec ton esprit. Prions le Seigneur. Dieu éternel et tout-puissant.
Jean Bartol blessed the new school. And so that was really exciting to see all the children who flooded in the doors as soon as the ribbon was cut.
The children couldn't wait. It was the first time they'd ever been in the building. They couldn't wait to go into their classroom and sit with their teachers and also just stay in the building. And they just hung out in this new building that means so much to them.
The children very excited, then the parents as well, all people in the community very, very happy about the work we have done there.
The thing that sold our community on St. Marguerite was the pictures that we took back of the children and the beauty of the children and the obvious need for hope through education.
It was just a very full day and opportunity for all of us to feel very connected with brothers and sisters in a different part of the world.
After the blessing, the team celebrated the great success of the day.
Almighty God, we give you thanks for the many blessings you share with us. We thank you for the people of this congregation, St. Marguerite.
Merci Seigneur pour toute bénédiction en fait. Merci pour communauté Sainte Marguerite par mérite de Jésus qui vit au cette bénédiction. Amen.
Only God will continue to bless all of you, and I hope God will continue to bless Haitian people as well.
We love the people there. We'll be in relationship hopefully for many years, and it's just been a wonderful experience.
Good morning, everybody. This morning I want to extend to the people of Haiti the deep condolences and unwavering support of the American people following yesterday's terrible earthquake. We are just now beginning to learn the extent of the devastation, but the reports and images that we've seen of collapsed hospitals, crumbled homes, and men and women carrying their injured neighbors through the streets are truly heart-wrenching. Indeed, for a country and a people who are no strangers to hardship and suffering, this tragedy seems especially cruel and incomprehensible.
The strength of the earthquake caused considerable damage to the church and school at St. Marguerite. The extent of the damage is not fully known, but it is certain that the parish will be in great need of help. Though the Republic of Haiti is no stranger to hardship, this catastrophe is unlike anything they have ever faced. It is times like these when the world needs to put race and religion aside to help our fellow human beings. The help we can extend to our brothers and sisters in Haiti will help them rebuild a nation stronger than ever before. The Blessing of St. Margaret not only shows how a community can be brought together in times of hardship, it represents how even the epicenter of desolation can be given a sense of hope.